Greetings and salutations, everyone. It has been a while. How y'all doing? And also a big shout out to the folks watching on Twitter/X, as we're back on Twitter/X now. So welcome back, everybody on there, and everybody who's on the other platforms, YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whether you're on even Twitch, or if it's DLive, or if it's Trovo, or even Kick. By all means, welcome everyone. Here we are once again with another playthrough of A Sky Full of Stars, a story about a few folks, some childhood friends who decided to start a little set of stargazing. But of course, as life happens, as this is mainly a slice of life visual novel, things happen. You know, sometimes we lose contact, sometimes we come back, and sometimes we stick around for all the good times throughout all of our life. But either way, we're going to be doing some stargazing in the process. And as we do before, because we've been a while since we've done one of these, let's get you up to speed on what has been going on from the last times that we were here, shall we? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So, in the last bits of it, as we queue up our recording here, and I'd say ultimately these folks, they definitely keep themselves occupied early in the morning, mind you, because as you can see here, it was early in the morning when we first got to meet these folks and the break of dawn and whatnot to be able to do the stargazing that they did. And one of the characters, whose name is Kikari, apparently she never learned the concept of dressing warmly when it's cold outside. I mean, seriously. And then they've got another individual who's going to be joining them with this, whose name is Saya, if I remember correctly. And they've got some serious equipment there. I mean, even a few of my relatives had a telescope in the past, but I don't think it was on the level of that one. But they set up to stargaze, and they were focusing on, I believe, the planet Venus this time around. And then they made copious notes with that as to the visuals of the planet, as well as what they most likely thought of doing. And then we got our opening title here, A Sky Full of Stars. And here's our main character here, whom we happen to be, or I happen to be role-playing rather, getting a nice little bit of coffee to start the day as he continues the tradition of stargazing, as it looks like he's in high school. Heading to the astronomy club, it looks like he was met more within a cult club than an actual astronomy club, if you will. But turn on the lights, everything is actually normal. It turns out this girl apparently is a little bit on the ditzy side, if you will. Her name is Orihime, this young lady right here, and her partner in justice, I would say, Honoka, who turns out to be her assistant. They need this guy to do something for them. They need him to reignite the unity of different clubs throughout the different schools, called the 6 Stars, if I remember correctly. But here, where we left off last time, was Saya waiting for our main character with a pot in her hand. I'm not assuming that's lunch, because it looks like they're in the late afternoon. But that's pretty much where we were last time. So now the question is, where do we go from here? Well, I'd say the only way to know is to find out for ourselves. So with that, we'll go ahead and bring our transition of game audio up to cinema level, or as much as we can, and let's see exactly where this is going to lead us. Do I know? I have no idea, but we'll see how it turns out. All right, so Saya, what are you up to right here? And I'll read the last bit of the script right there. Just like the ones before, all students on their way home looked, I'm assuming, her way. So I think this might be Saya's point of view right now. So let's see where that leads. So I'll do it in Saya's point of view for the time being. Saya guessed it was only natural since it was so rare for a girl wearing another school's uniform to be there. Okay, so remembering now, she's actually, it appears she goes to another school, so she's most likely meeting our main character at this location. But Saya got so embarrassed that she could not stand it anymore. Yeah, you probably should, especially if you're getting basically bothered by a bunch of folks wondering what you're doing there. Probably for the best. Feeling helpless, Saya looked down at the package in her hands. I mean, you could probably ask them about him. Oh. And who do we got here? That's right. His name is Akito. If she'd been smiling like that from the start, I never could have refused. I muttered, thinking back on Orihime's grinning face. That first impression was so creepy, but I guess I was lucky I couldn't really pay attention to the rest of her. She's a little older, so she's got a different kind of beauty compared to Saya. Her rack is much bigger too. Akito, focus! Focus! Jeez. Saya would not be very happy if she knew I was using her as the basis of comparison. I thought to myself as I pedaled my bike through the school gate. Whenever I thought of Saya, I thought of Odin. Oh, Saya's Odin! I sighed like a lovesick child. It was just about time for work. My trip to Mako Academy took longer than planned, so I didn't have time to go by Saya's house to pick up my Odin. And I had really been looking forward to tonight's banquet. Man, just thinking about that Odin sure is making me hungry. Maybe I should have had a snack before I even headed out. Hello, Saya. Saya? What are you doing here? I mean, hi. Very nice. She must have meant the former president. Saya had met him before. You came and waited just for me? I told her beforehand that I had a sudden errand to run. That he was. Oh, you don't mean... With a little angelic smile, Saya picked up a package from a desk. A desk? A desk. Oh my gosh. Yep. Ta-da, huh? You brought it in a pot? You really are something. It must have been so heavy. You stood waiting in front of the school carrying this? Dedication. You rode the bus with this on your lap? In my mind's eye, it was such a surreal sight. It seemed more like she'd lost a dare or something. Thank you so much, Saya. The impulse to hug her in gratitude was so strong, I had to struggle to keep it under control. After all of that work, it would have been a tragedy to spill the Odin. Speaking of, what the heck are you doing here?
Yo, okaeri.
Takeichi, huh? Let me see, I'm hearing a little bit of hollowness. Let me just clean that up right quick. Okay, let's continue. Don't what's up me, you moron. What are you doing slipping in here to eat our noodles?
やっぱカレーだよな。お前わかってるよ。
The food snatching bandit just stood there, poking at his phone and slurping his ill-gotten curry noodles. I'd been trying my best to ignore him, but the spicy aroma of those noodles ignited my appetite.
私がアキトくん待ってたらお腹すいたって。
Is the Odin okay? I was actually fearful as I said that.
任せて、死守したよ。
Kid, you good for not trying to get the Odin. Otherwise, you probably would have to deal with that kid. Saya gave me a thumbs up. We nodded to each other like war buddies who had survived hell together. Seeing that, Takeichi slurped his curry noodles in protest. I guess as if to say, I don't want nothing to do with that. The synergy of sound and smell triggered my stomach like Pavlov's bell? I don't know. And by the way, those purloined noodles had been my emergency rations. Also, that jerk wasn't even in the astronomy club. He was just a mere basketball club member.
どこ行ってたんだ?
Just strolling along, you know, sightseeing, you know, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing to see here, you know, nothing to see here, just regular activity, nothing to see here, nothing to tell about here. Oh, nowhere special. I brushed him off and started to change out of my uniform to get ready for work. Saya turned her back while I changed.
名工学院に行ってたの?
Maybe, Saya said, still looking the other way. How did she know that?
部長さんがね、教えてくれたの。部長さんのお使いで名工の天文部の人に会いに行ってるって。
Yeah, pretty much. I made some vague agreement trying to misdirect. I didn't want to get into it.
名工の天文部なんぞに一体何の用事だよ?
And this concerns you how?
だな。でも天の川が聞きたそうな顔してっからさ。
Saya's ears turned beet red and she shook her head back and forth. I couldn't see her face, but it was pretty clear she wanted to know who I'd met. It was no big deal. Have you ever heard of the Six Stars Club? Saying it over and over, Saya turned around with a thoughtful look on her face just as I was taking off my pants. Boy. Never a dull moment of comical relief. She turned bright red again and whipped back around. There's a part of me that wants to not buy that, but we'll see whether or not she actually does. I finished changing my pants and hung up my uniform. You know, if they're gonna do stuff like this, maybe it'd be a good idea to have just a little changing booth, so as to... Never mind. Never mind. It's anime logic. Never mind. I forgot what I was doing. It's anime logic. Never mind. Never mind. It was a gathering of all the astronomy clubs in the city, apparently. They asked me to join it. I gave Saya a rundown of what Orihime and Honoka told me. It really wasn't something I wanted to talk about, but with that pot full of Odin right in front of me, I could not refuse Saya anything.
そんな集まりがあるんだね。知らなかったよ。
Me neither. Well, it did break up 6 years ago. After she heard my story, Saya opened her blue and orange eyes wide and stared at me.
じゃあ、アキト君、また星を見るんだ。
Maybe. No way. I'm never looking up again.
でも。
They put my answer on hold, but at the next meeting I plan to refuse outright. Hang on, folks, let me just check one thing here. Saying something that's a little bit out of sorts. I like this music right here. That's one thing that I can say about Moe Novel. They do be coming up with some really good tracks for their stuff. They be absolute hits. I could probably use this as concentration music. I may need to consider this as part of my collection. Get their OST. Alright, I'm almost finished here. Alright, that should do it. Alright, back to the action.
そうなんだ。
The topic ended on an unpleasant note. Saya's shoulders slumped a little in disappointment. That's why I didn't want to talk about it, I thought to myself. Oh my goodness, this guy. The slurping of Takeichi's curry noodles echoed in the silence. I silently reached out to take the cup from Takeichi's hand. Good heavens, dude. He wouldn't let go, though. Just give me a little. No thanks. There is no way I'm doing that. Hey there, Raven. Welcome into the stream. And I'm glad you like the videos. And thanks, I will drink lots of water and get lots of rest. Speaking of which, might as well get a little hydration right now. All right, let's continue. Gross. I agree, Akito. I agree. Boy, if you ever tried that with me, I'd be like, no. I'd be like, okay, if you want to play that game, I'll charge you for every single noodle that you take from that. Especially since you got that from my rations without my permission. Takeichi picked up some noodles with his chopsticks and reached toward me. Ew. The delectable spicy scent wafted toward my nose. Don't do it, Akito. Why don't you just dig into the Odin, dude? Why are you stalling for the Odin? Like, dude. Thank goodness. I ripped the cup and chopsticks from Takeichi's head.
お前食いすぎだろ
It's his stuff. He can eat it all if he wants.
おいやめろ一口でどんだけ空気だ
You really gonna think that when it's his stuff to begin with? I scarfed down nearly all the noodles before Takeichi could snatch them back.
もうほとんど残ってね
I smiled, feeling victorious while chomping my mouth full of noodles. That's what you get for being creepy.
ただの冗談じゃねえか
Takeichi picked at the leftover noodles, and bits of chopped meat stuck in the cup. He actually looked kind of sad.
ごっそさん
Takeichi drank the last of the sauce and smacked his lips. He threw the cup and chopsticks away.
ああ食った食ったんな顔すんなよ明日新しいの買ってくっから
Okay, well, taking responsibility for what you took and replenished. Okay, that's definitely honorable. Takeichi stood up and stretched. Just when I thought he was leaving, he stopped.
お前さ光のことをそろそろ吹っ切れよ
Oh? What? What's she got to do with anything? Why'd you go and bring her up now?
あるのは三日月村出身なら誰でも知ってるお前が星を見なくなったのあいつがいなくなってからじゃねえか
Oh.
もう4年も前だぞどっか行っちまったやつのことより今の自分とか
Sounds like somebody's got a scar.
身近にいる誰かのこと考えてやってもいいんじゃねえか
Come here a minute.
どこ行くんだよ
Just a small bathroom break. I pulled him out to the hallway, then let go of his arm. What's the matter with you, bringing up crap like that out of nowhere?
いきなりでもないだろう天文部の話題の続きじゃねえか
We were going to have a falling out at this rate.
おかしいだろう星を見ない天文部員なんて
Just forget it. It's my problem. It's not like he was the one they were talking about. When he saw how upset I was, he gave a little sigh.
お前見てると時々もどかしくなるんだよ余計なこと言って悪かった
It's fine. I could see why it bothered him. And I knew he was trying to help. I had a lot of friends who try to help me. I should be grateful.
昔の借りもいろいろあるし何か力になれたらって思ったんだすまん
Oh, there's one thing I forgot to do. For this track, we actually do not need the ducker. I'll have to save that at a separate scene. Hope you have a great day. Enjoy playing. Thanks a lot, Raven. Thanks for stopping by. I said it's fine, and I don't remember you owing me anything. As far as I'm concerned, it's the other way around. The only reason I'm able to do anything is you. If we started counting up who owes who, I'd surely come up even. We grinned at each other and bumped fists. If anyone had seen, we'd have died from embarrassment. I'm gonna hit the toilet. Saya's probably getting worried, so could you go back for a minute? She probably thought we were beating each other to a pulp silly or something. She was such a worrywart.
Oh.
I left Takeichi behind and headed for the toilet. When I got back, Takeichi was nowhere to be seen. Where's Take?
居残り練習あるからって。
So that's why he wanted to fill up. Not to mention it looked like he was up to become a starter next year. I hope our basketball club will be alright.
仲良しだよね。アキトくんとタケくんって。ちょっと羨ましい。ああ、私も男の子に生まれたかったな。
It's a lot of challenges being a dude, I'm telling you right now. Each side has their challenges. What are you talking about?
私もアキトくんとラーメンの取り合いしてみたい。
Ha! What's so appealing about that? No way. If you were a boy, that would be a great loss to humanity.
損失？
And anyway, knowing you, even if you'd been born a boy, you just share everything anyway and never fight over it.
そうかも。
Saya nodded seriously, with a I hadn't thought of that kind of look on her face. It was kind of funny. While she waited for me, Saya had been in the dark, looking at the telescope we had set up in the room. I set it up every day to make sure it stayed in good shape. It was a refracting telescope with an 8-centimeter aperture. After the president retired, it hadn't been used once though. By now, it was already getting dark outside the window. You know, it should be visible soon. Alberio, that is. When I said this, Saya turned to me with a surprised look.
ううん、いい。あっくんと一緒じゃないなら。
For some reason, I suddenly got embarrassed and couldn't look at her. Maybe you should stop calling me that. Isn't it embarrassing?
たまにはいいでしょ。
The teasing tone in Saya's voice made me feel even more embarrassed. Well, I better get to work. I'll take you back. Wait, what about the Odin? Wait, what about the Odin, dude? What about the Odin?
こんな時間に通い妻ちゃん発見。ありがたや、ありがたや。
I got my bike and came to the gate. I found Saya already there, surrounded by older students going home after practice, all pretending to pray to her. Like she's some kind of graven idol.
バイバイ、通い妻ちゃん。
Good heavens.
さよなら。やったー。あの子と口聞いちゃった。
Do you know her?
知らない人だと思う。
It's just another one of her fans. Don't worry about it, buddy. And yet Saya had replied so sincerely. She was too funny and too cute. I got on my bike and Saya climbed onto the cargo rack, sitting side saddle.
なんかね、私、かよい妻ちゃんって呼ばれてるんだって。
Kinda out of my control there. Saya said and peeked at my face to see how I reacted. Yeah, seems that way. She had visited our school so many times that the name had become permanent. It was only natural that someone in another school's uniform should stand out, or would stand out, and with the way Saya looked, it was inevitable. And since she usually showed up with food, the unfortunate name Commuter Wife just stuck. I'd stay quiet about it, because I thought she didn't like it, but looking at her now, I wasn't so sure. Hold on tight. Don't let go. You could never ask Saya to be too careful since she had the coordination of a drunk ox. Ouch. Saya wrapped her arms around my waist and I slowly began to pedal. I like this track. I quickly passed the other students, walking home after their clubs. Saya was light. I barely noticed her sitting behind me. As we picked up speed, the wind cooling down as the sun sets started to hit us. Maybe without thinking, Saya pressed her body up against my back. It warmed me up.
もうすぐ冬だね。
Yep, Odin season.
きっと美味しいよ。味がうんと染みてて。おすすめはね、じゃがいもとこんにゃくと、あとタコの足がね。
Saya counted off the ingredients on her fingers. Oh man, no more. Just listening to you is making me hungry.
そっか。じゃあ食べてのお楽しみだね。
And you would be right, Saya. You would be right. Definitely. Stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky. Winter was right upon us. I approached the aging streetlights, their feeble light nearly drowned by the overwhelming darkness. On that dark country night, only one single building still held back the dark with dazzling light. The Stop and By, also known as Mikazuki's Castle That Never Sleeps. Or at least, when this place was still on the southeastern border of the Mikazuki village. Someone once called it that. The Sao Tome Stop and By stayed open until 10 p.m. Back then, the village shops usually closed at 6, or at the very latest, 8 at night. It was dark night. So when the villagers first gazed upon that Stop and By sign glowing in the defiance of the laws of nature, how they must have shuddered. They said it heralded the coming of civilization to tiny Mikazuki village. People will believe what they will. Since then, Mikazuki village had been submerged under the new reservoir. The rest of the village had become part of Hoshinoka City. Even still, people remembered the old name. That was probably because of the Mikazuki villagers' pride in their symbol of civilization. Of course, the convenience stores along the coastal highway are still open 24 hours. I was alone in the shop, sitting on the stool behind the register, poking at my phone. For hard-working students, our late hours could be a real blessing, but for me, it was terribly boring. In the late evening, customers only came in sporadically after trains arrived at the station.
学校を超えた天文部の集まりか。何それ、面白そうじゃない。
It went on for over 30 years, apparently.
いいじゃん、やりなよやりなよ。
I'm not, for reasons.
どうして？
I decided I'm not going to look at the stars anymore.
どうしてなんでだって、アキトくんも天文部なんでしょ？
It's just that some stuff happened way back.
お、来たね。若者の悩み。いいよ。お姉さんに何でも話してみなさい。さあ。
Unsure of how to answer, I looked up from my phone. I guess Miss Komako wasn't even her real name. She was an office worker living in some big city somewhere. We met a while back online. Sometimes when she gets tired of adulting, we kill time together like this. I turned my eyes to the single customer in the shop. Who do we have here? He still hasn't moved. Old Man Champ had been standing in front of the magazine rack since before I looked down at my phone, and he apparently hadn't moved a muscle. He was as still as a hunting crane. Oh, Old Man Champ moved. It looks like he's decided on the evening's entertainment. Old Man Champ reached out and took a magazine from the rack, then turned toward the register. And then... Oof. A youngish woman came out from the back of the shop. Hey, Miss Miharu. Complaining under her breath, Miss Miharu took a pork bun from the warming box by the register. That'll be 180 yen. My old teacher stared at my outstretched hand like she had something to say to it. Yes, but my manager told me that under no circumstances was I to feed their, and I quote, deadbeat daughter for free. Ms. Miharu reached into her pocket and took out some coins. No, that's not what he's thinking. He's just doing his job. There's a difference. With an expression of a heart-wrenching grief, she placed 180 yen on the counter. It included 2 5-yen coins. Would you like your receipt? Why would you want to wipe yourself with a receipt? It doesn't even have the characteristics for any form of wiping as that. She sulkily walked over to the shop's seating area and, reading a newspaper someone had left, began eating her bought and paid for pork bun. When Miss Miharu had gone, Old Man Champ snuck out of his hiding place behind the magazine rack and fearfully made his way to the register. What can I do for you? The old man blushed faintly as he had laid down 2 magazines. The first was a popular young men's comic magazine, Champ Comics. The second was carefully hidden underneath. His evening entertainment turned out to be huge rack housewives, apparently. Hey, ain't none of my business. I'm gonna just leave it at that. That's 1,040 yen out of 1,100 yen. Using my months of register skill, I quickly scanned the magazines and slipped them smoothly into a paper bag in one motion. That's 60 yen and change. Thanks for stopping by. Old Man Champ, apparently relieved by my skilled service, left the shop with an air of satisfaction. That explains why he was so hesitant to move from there until, I guess, somebody in particular left. Yeah. Sorry, Old Man Champ came by. He's this old guy who always comes in and buys a off-brand mag whenever he comes in, and when I'm working. He hides it under a Champ Comics each time, so I call him Old Man Champ. Old Man Champ chose his raunchy books with all the intensity of pubescent teenager who just discovered them. But I did not mean to make fun of him, not at all. His pension allowed him just one magazine. That'd make anyone choose carefully indeed. Oh, hey, Miss Miharu. What happened with that room we talked about? She kept reading the newspaper as she spoke. I see. Thanks for checking. I gave up, acting like I had known before I asked. I guess I'll try somewhere else. There are places over the coast. When I stayed at some folks' house, I did my own laundry. I actually helped with cooking and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. What's going on with you? Good heavens, man. You know, if the manager heard you say that, she'd throw you out for good. When I said this, she put down the newspaper and turned my way. She looked at me with an odd expression on her face. Is that right? Her tone of voice did sound like she really was worried about me, and I started to regret my teasing. But really, you don't need to. And why would they do that? Huh? What? Was that what we were talking about? Is that right? Yeah, when you do a good job, some folks really do put their trust in you. I've even had statements like that in my line of work. Wait, Akito, she was your first love, dude? Really? What? Wait, I...
私はもうそれでもいいんだけど、若くて息のいい旦那が手に入って家でゴロゴロできるんなら御の字だし。
I don't think that's how it works. Y'all would be team playing the chores and everything. Wait.
ねえ、子供は何人欲しい？サッカーチーム作る？
I had to pause for a second because what I initially wanted to say was not PG. Because ultimately it's like, how are you going to expect to take care of those kids if you've got this mindset of just loafing around? Enemy logic. Enemy logic. Enemy logic. Enemy logic. Enemy logic. Enemy logic. Just stop right there. Now, where to begin with all of this? What was that about my first love? Who told you that? How the heck is that common? It's a mistake. Hikari just said that for fun. Miss Miharu just sat there with a smug look on her face. But anyway, if you really thought you were my first love, why'd you work so hard every day to ruin that?
どういうところを好きになっちゃったの？
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to run this shop, and I especially don't want to get married. I just want to find a place to live.
あらそう。残念だわ。永久就職先が見つかったと思ったの。
Heck to the nah a million times. It was like the one tiny bit of hope I had in my life disappeared in an instant. Wait, is that her train of thought? In its place, I felt a heavy weight fall on my shoulders. As I was breaking out in a cold sweat, I heard Kotaro's voice from outside. Good heavens. Through the glass, he looked at me with pleading eyes. It's a little early, but I guess I'd better take him for his walk. Miss Miharu, can you watch the shop? She answered without enthusiasm, or didn't even look up from the newspaper. But since she did answer, I figured it was okay. I took off my apron and put on my jacket. See you in a bit.
何この新聞、先月のじゃん。
Wait, she just now noticed that? Watching her from the corner of my eye, as the shock of this realization destroyed her concentration and made her throw the paper in anger, I hurried out. Don't get too worked up, okay? You'll wake the neighborhood. Talking to Kotaro taking Kotaro for his evening walk was also part of my job. I usually did it after closing, but sometimes I'd go a little bit earlier if Miss Miharu was there to take over. Thanks, buddy. You saved me back there. He'd gotten me out of a conversation I did not want to get any deeper into. It seemed like there was a conspiracy brewing against me while I wasn't looking. A cold sweat rolled down my back. It honestly made me happy that the manager liked me that much, and I was grateful. But jumping all the way to son-in-law was a bit much. I guess I only had my rather fuzzy situation to blame. What should I do? Then there was the Six Stars Club. All that stuff Takeichi talked about was stuck in the back of my mind, too. All these different things got so tied up together that I couldn't make heads or tails of what I should do. I stopped walking and looked up at the sky. There were few stars in the autumn sky, and it seemed so empty. Among them, near the apex of the sky, I saw 4 bright stars making a quadrilateral. These last few years, it's gotten really bright around here. Even the autumn square looks pale. It was also known as the Great Square of Pegasus. One of the great signs of autumn, these second magnitude stars now appeared as faint as 3rd or 4th magnitude. As the streetlights grew brighter, the stars were washed from the night sky. They ended up looking darker. The night sky I had watched as a little boy was much brighter. The stars, huh?
かつて星を見ていたのなら覚えているはずよ。冴え渡る夜空に星を追う楽しさを、空の断りを一つ一つ解き明かしていく喜びを。
When she looked right into my eyes like that, I could not speak, because I felt like I knew. Those eyes, eager with the light of heavens that had found its way into our young hearts, pure and clean as the winter sky. My chest grew tight, and I could not breathe, so I lowered my gaze. I wanted to forget it all and move on, but I kept retracing those old steps. Standing beneath the starry sky, I suddenly felt afraid and started walking again. What you got there, buddy? Kotaro looked ahead and suddenly started barking. An unknown girl. Okay, who are you, unknown girl? A young woman was coming from the other direction. She stared at her smartphone and mumbled something.
どういうことだこれ。
Not very tech savvy, apparently. The girl raised her head when Kotaro barked. I could see a strained expression on her face in the light of the screen. She had well-defined, lovely features. She looked about my age, but I didn't know her. What could she be doing here at this time of night? You think this is Hikari? Hey, quiet down. Sorry about that. Kotaro wagged his tail and started to jump, so I pulled him back and I tried to get him to settle down. If this had been a stranger, he would have been afraid and wouldn't have moved. I'm starting to think this might be Hikari.
Kotaro?
Yep, it is. It is. Huh? Just then, we could hear the creak and rattle of the rails signaling a train coming from far off the distance.
あれ逃したら1時間待ちだよ。
Oh dear. And having said that, she took off running. Like some kind of sports car, she hit top speed immediately and blew past me like the wind. As she did so, our eyes met for an instant. Yep, it's her. It's her. She's back!
Huh?
Or, it could all be just a dream, Because there's always a case where there's a dream or there's some type of vision or some type of daydreaming or something like that. Maybe this is all in his head, he's still maybe already still at the shop, This is all just a daydream and whatnot. But she was off, her ponytails trailing behind her as she raced off to catch the arriving train. That would be Twin Tails, buddy. I watched her fading shape, dumbstruck, then looked at Kotaro. She a friend of yours? Well, if she used the station often, it was only natural for her to know Kotaro. Looking in the direction she had run, I muttered to myself. She was like a comet. The way she flew through the night, her ponytails trailing behind her like ionized gas and dust, reminded me of a twin-tail comet. I'm back.
お疲れさん。気をつけて帰るんだよ。
As soon as I got back to my room, I switched on the electric heater. The weather forecast said tonight would be as cold as the end of December. I set up my cartridge stove and, next to that, my portable camp stove, and turned on the fire. I put Saya's pot of Odin in the cartridge stove, and on the camp stove, a can of roast chicken. It's really delicious if you open the can and scorch the top a little. I also had 3 rice balls we were going to throw out at the shop. I was really lucky on this one. Today they had some salmon-filled ones left. Oh! I actually had the privilege of actually eating a salmon-filled rice ball. And it was funny how, because I used to provide some sound reinforcement for the staff meetings for one anime convention, and one team actually brought me lunch for me to stay a little bit later with the gear so they could do their training session. And one of their gifts of lunch was a salmon-filled rice ball, and let me tell you, it was delicious. And I was hooked ever since. I've been trying to find where I could get them because it was just so delicious. And that was my dinner. Oh, so hungry. As the chicken juices started to scorch and put out a delicious smell, my stomach started rumbling. And I still had some time before the odin warmed up. Funny thing is with this, y'all, I'm actually going to be having some salmon for dinner tonight after I'm done here. What a coincidence. I guess me and him are somewhat in the same in a way. Oh, better watch out. Watching the steam start to rise, I remembered the telescope I left set up in the corner of my room. Moisture was the great enemy of lenses. Guess I'd better put it away. Even though I'd gone to all the trouble of cleaning it up, it was going back in its case without being used. It'd be nice if next year we got a member who'd actually use you, huh? The reason I was in the astronomy club wasn't because I wanted to look at the stars. I was in it because I could stay in the room. The astronomy club had plenty of outdoor goods, and for purposes of astronomical observation, it was easy to get permission to stay overnight. Of course, if I'd said that was my reason for joining, I never would have gotten permission. I was invited by the president. He told me that if the club did not get any new members, it was in danger of being closed. When I asked if it was okay to sleep in the club room, he said of course, and as someone with astronomy experience, I was a welcome addition. And so they started calling me the astronomer who never looks at the stars. I turned off the camp stove with the canned chicken and dug a book out of the pile of my stuff in the corner. Wow, look! A beginner's guide to astronomy. It was an astronomy book for kids, yellowed with the age and torn in several places. I opened the book and a letter fell from between its pages. It was held closed with a cute little bunny sticker. I'd gotten it 4 years earlier. I never opened it.
光のことをそろそろ吹っ切れよ。
I don't need to read it, just because of what Take said. Feeling an unpleasant sweat break out on my forehead, I gathered up my resolve and just then... It's from Komako. What's this?
元気なかったみたいだからサービスだよ。
Oh gosh, why would you do that? 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 Let's see. All right, let's move forward. Whoa! Is that her? Yes, yes it is. Yes it is, Akito. Yes, that is cleavage. Yes. You've seen that before, okay? And there was so much. All right, reel it back in, kid. Reel it back in, okay? Reel it back in. Komako's rack is so huge. It was a picture of a woman's cleavage, and though I felt a little guilty, I also thought of how Orihime's were probably the same size. So this was a grown woman. Such a simple gift, such a bold gift. Thank you for such the bold gift, is what he would say, of course. Or was this just what people do in the big city? No, not necessarily what people do in the big city. It's what people do for whatever reason, basically when they want to tease you. Because that's all this really is a tease. Still clutching my... Dude, what do you mean you... Still clutching my phone, my hands started to tremble. Kid, quit acting like you ain't never seen cleavage before. Just as they had when I was clutching that 4-year-old unopened letter, perhaps even more.
どうした？なんか反応くれないと恥ずかしいんだけど。あ、もしかしてアキトくん貧乳派？それならそうと早く言ってくれれば。
Thank you so much! You really cheered me up. Well, there is a saying. There is a saying that boobs are magic. That boobs are magic. If the guy's tired, show him the boobs. If he's sad, show him the boobs. It does work. You know, all my reactions of his antics, it does work. It does cheer guys up. It actually does.
素直でよろしい。
If only our honesty was a little bit more appreciated when it's inconvenient but necessary. I had the feeling I had been trying to decide something very important, but that was all gone now. I was in such a good mood, and to top it off, the pot of Odin started to bubble. I put the letter back between the pages of Wow Look, A Beginner's Guide to Astronomy, and returned the book to its place, then sat on my bed as if nothing had happened. Hot, 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 hot. Looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I opened the lid and steam billowed out. The room filled with a cloud of steam. Radish, potatoes, fish cakes, cabbage rolls, octopus, and so much more. The ingredients glinted golden and wet with soup through the steam. The pot was like an overflowing treasure chest. Time to eat! Itadakimasu! I offered up my thanks to Saya for bringing it to me, and her family for making it, and grabbed my chopsticks. Ooh, this radish is so good, and the potatoes are so tender. It was a cold evening. The first touch of winter was in the air. The hot pot of Odin, the flavor seeping deep into every bite, warmed my body and soul. This guy. All right. You've been lying to us this whole time anyway. Ooh. What happened here? Our planetary observation journal was in terrible shape, just like us. From that day on, I could no longer look at the stars. Sounded like somebody got into an argument.
Weは高価な望遠鏡より一人一つの双眼鏡をモットーに活動しております。ですので、これはちょっと。
The president of the Moromisawa Technical Institute's astronomy club was dressed in a black uniform coat with a high collar. He spoke with a gentle, apologetic tone that did not match his expression. As if to put an end... Wait. As if to put an end to his reluctance, another voice interrupted.
つーか、論外っしょ。ありえない。
Good heavens. A girl with a harsh voice and shaking ponytails was Nishihai's club president. Wait, you're saying ponytails, but I only see one ponytail. Okay. Looks like this is the meeting. Oh dear, she's terrified. Listening to their objections, the pair from the Mako Academy, the club president from Amahai, and I all stared at the papers in our hands. There was the scent of danger in the air. How did we end up here again? 30 minutes earlier.
ようこそおいでくださいました、皆様。こうして天文を愛する仲間たちと一堂に会することができたことを心より嬉しく思います。
Orihime looked hopefully at each of us. She was celebrating the auspicious first meeting of the newly revived Six Stars Club.
まずは各校代表者に自己紹介をしていただきましょうか。では私から明光学院天文部前部長タイエタの白鳥織姫3年です。
A quiet round of applause rose.
同じく1年で現部長の吉岡です。
Everyone likely already knew them both, and the response felt rehearsed. At Orihime's urging, the girl next to her stood up.
天の中天文部部長エレクトラの加納典子です。2年生です。よろしくお願いします。
She was obviously quite nervous. Let's see. Amanonaka, known as Amahai, is a public school on the very southern edge of Hoshinonaka City and what used to be Amanonaka City. It was on the newly developed seaward side of town, and although it was a public school, it had a metropolitan atmosphere that all the young people in town found really attractive. Even the uniform had a sophisticated, stylish look. Speaking of, according to what Honoka had said a few days earlier, Amahai's astronomy club only had one member, just like ours, which would of course make her the sole member. The president from Amahai sat down with a relieved expression, and the next person stood.
天の中西地学部部長のなんだっけアルキオネです。ああ、そうそう。アルキオネの陣のなるえ。2年だ。よろしくな。
The club president from Amanonaka Nishi High School, usually known as Nishi High, gave a casual greeting. The way she looked around at everyone, whipping her ponytails without a trace of timidity, gave everyone the feeling she was not one to compromise. She had used the name Earth Sciences Club, but in lots of schools, astronomy and earth sciences are combined. Actually, in some so-called earth sciences clubs, they only did astronomy. Although I didn't know if that was the case at Nishi High. Just like Daiichi, it was a perfectly normal public school. But from what Honoka had said, it once had the most active group of all. Hadn't she said it once had as many as 36 members? Narue's intense confidence might have something to do with that history. After her, a large muscular boy in a long black school coat stood up.
諸見沢工業天文部部長平野の田尻であります。2年です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Relax, buddy. Relax. Okay? Just relax. Relax. We all just relax. The club president from the vocational boys' school, Moromisawa Technical, usually called Moromi, gave an enthusiastic Spirit Club style introduction. Moromi was on the north edge of what is now Hoshinonaka City, in what used to be Hoshino City. It was so far away that I didn't know much about it. Just judging by first impressions, he did not really seem the astronomy type. In fact, his build seemed more suited for playing center on a basketball team. For some reason, he blushed as he spoke.
わかります。星座の形も整ってて美しいですし、いろいろと見応えあっていいよね。初心者向けって感じだけど。
Dang. Shots fired. And just as it seemed some conversation was starting off, all eyes turned to me, the only one left. As I stood up and started to introduce myself, I suddenly wanted to make it as short as possible. It's not like I was nervous or anything, it's just that something had started to bother me. Taigeta Electra... I forgot how that was pronounced. What the heck were they talking about? I'm only a first year, but I'm the president of the... Let me see, what? I'm only a first year, but I'm the president of the Hoshino Daiichi's Astronomy Club. Akito Sorami.
あなたにも教えたはずよ。星野第一に冠された特別な名を。
Mamma Mia?
マイヤです。
I was about to say, if it was Mamma Mia, I mean...
彼こそがプレアデス7姉妹の長女の名を持つマイヤの空見明人よ。
Everyone made an ooh sound. Oh wait, I got y'all. And there was scattered clapping. What was with this weird atmosphere? So, what exactly does that mean anyway?
プレアデス星団をご存知ないのですか？
Nope, especially not me. Yeah, that much I know. The cluster was a beautiful star cluster that ruled the winter sky, beloved by astronomy fans everywhere. The Japanese name was Subaru. Interesting. Since it was used by the car manufacturer... Oh, no kidding! My mind is just blown. My mind is just blown. Lots of people knew that name. I never would have thought of that. I never would have thought of that. You learn something every day. The Pleiades, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. The Pleiades cluster had a lot of other names, one of which was the Six Stars. I guess that's why they call it the Six Stars Club. I guess I got that name because when you look with the naked eye, it seems to be made up of 6 bright stars, but I don't know for sure. Well, let's see. I mean, which of these are supposed to be, because there's a few others, so I guess the brightest stars, but I think there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I'm not sure which one of these it is. Unless it's this cluster right here. I'm thinking that's the only one. They say people with really good eyes can discover a 7th, 8th, or even more stars with it. Long ago, when the stars at night were brighter, there was apparently someone who was able to make out more than 20 distinct
プ
stars.
レアデス星団のうち明るい7つの星にはそれぞれ美しい姉妹の名が付けられているのよ。長女マイヤ、エレクトラ、タイエタ、アルキオーネ、ケラエノ、アステローペ、そして末の妹メローペ。星になる前の彼女たちは月の女神アルテミスに仕える侍女だったの。
I had known that the stars in the Pleiades cluster all had names, but I didn't know each name, nor where they had come from. And anyway, the term star cluster refers to a massive group of stars all in one place. In the Pleiades, the naked eye can make out 6 or maybe 7 stars. However, with a telescope, you can see tons of stars all crowded together. In reality, it's a cloud of young stars gathered around a point in space about 443 light years away. That cloud is considered to be one celestial object and has been given the designation M45, more commonly called the Pleiades cluster. No, that's not what I meant. I meant, what do those 7 sisters have to do with our schools? Orihime had this, oh no, not again, look on her face.
私たちはムツラ星の会よ。ムツラ星とはプレアデス星団の別名。我々がそれぞれに姉妹の名を持つのは当然の成り行きではないかしら。
I didn't really think it was all that natural. I mean, the numbers don't add up for one thing. Where was little Merope?
あんたの気持ちはわかる、星野大一さん。けど、それが昔からの習わしなんだってさ。
The president from Nishihai said, her voice full of resignation. So this was something the alumni decided, huh? They must have really enjoyed the whole thing. There's no way I'm going to remember all that. It's way too complicated. Why don't we just stop it?
心配はご無用です。この名はいわば秘密の名ですので、普段口にすることはありません。
All the other members besides Orihime seemed to relax at Honoko's words. Orihime looked like she actually wanted to use those names all the time.
今回誠に残念ながらアステローペ、すなわち聖戦女子の方々にはご参加いただけませんでした。
てか、あそこってまだ活動してんの？
一応天文部は存在しているようです。実態は不明ですが。
Seisen Girls' School was a public all-girl high school, and their academic level was the highest in the area. It was an old school, predating the Second World War, and was known for its really rigid school traditions. It's unlikely that the students would be comfortable mingling unofficially with people from other schools. Orihime's announcement seemed to take the cheer out of everyone. This might be a little difficult to get out of. If I stood up and said I wasn't going to participate now, I wondered what kind of look they would give me. Oh, they would probably definitely give you the stink eye, and probably be asking you, what the heck are you even doing here? I decided to wait until the meeting finished and quietly let Orihime know.
はい、質問よろしいでしょうか。
The president from Moromisawa raised his hand up.
ムツラ星の会を復活させる目的は、 各校天文部の活性化にあると聞きました。
Orihime nodded gracefully.
そのための具体的な方策はあるのでしょうか。
確かにただ集まって星を見るだけじゃ普通の合同観測会と変わらないわよね。
Orihime had a small smile to match her confident expression.
吉岡
Honoka handed everyone a sheet of paper. It was a list of the club members at each school and a summary of their equipment.
ご覧の通り我々が所有する機材はお世辞にも充実しているとは言えません。
On close study, it looked like the most expensive piece was Mako Academy's reflecting telescope. The aperture wasn't so great, but apparently it had an equatorial amount. Apart from that, Nishihai had a digital single lens reflex camera with a wide angle lens for night sky photography that looked pretty expensive. Moromisawa was like our school. They only had a beginner stuff. And then we came to Amahai, who didn't even have a telescope.
我が明光学院天文部もかつて部員数がゼロになり休部となった時期がありました。その期間に多くの機材や備品が紛失し今も出てきていません。嘆かわしい。
I wondered if it had been thrown away or put in some storage building, or if maybe someone just hadn't taken it. Our club probably had a similar problem.
このままではたとえ6校集まったとしてもより高度な活動は行えないわ。そこで私は提案します。皆で資金を出し合って天体望遠鏡を購入しようじゃありませんか。
I would imagine the maintenance factors of it. Orihime's proposal caused a bit of
そ
commotion.
の望遠鏡は新生六つ星の希望となり結束の象徴となるでしょう。
いいかもしれないね。っていうかそのくらいのメリットがないと一緒にやる意味がないよ。
そうかもしれませんね。
うち望遠鏡を持ってないんでそうしていただけるととてもありがたいです。
While all the other school reps were busy reacting, I asked a question. About how much money are we talking? Despite having no intention of joining, I went and asked a silly question.
費用の内訳と各校の負担は2枚目の用紙にまとめてあります。
Everyone turned the page, and then recoiled in horror.
なんじゃこ
どうかなさいまして。
I understood why everyone was so shocked. The prices written there went quite beyond everyone just chipping in a bit. But you know, I think we should probably find out how much they're talking, if they even will disclose it, on the next stream. Oh, now that's a cliffhanger if there ever was one. I pat myself on the back of that one. That's a cliffhanger. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to get ready for work tomorrow because it's most likely going to be a long day. But not to worry, because there's going to be more action tomorrow. So with that, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going back into Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. Yes, this one had been on a hiatus for a while because I had been really busy, but now it's coming back to the forefront. So I encourage you to join me for Marvel's Spider-Man 2 playthrough tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you got a little time on Saturday, also join me for more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Normally I stream on Saturdays at 2 p.m., but I got a few engagements to take care of, and then I'll be on live. So join me at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for Final Fantasy VII Remake. And also I encourage that you check out my primary outlet, which is my YouTube channel, as that contains VA roleplays, that's short for voice acting roleplays, another one's in the works actually. Visual novel playthroughs, this will be on there, as well as gaming playthrough archives of what I'm going to be doing tomorrow and Saturday. Some tech tutorials of some things such as addresses of things on what you can do for audio improvements on OBS, and also some general concepts of audio engineering. But also I have some tech tutorials on there on some Discord bots related to server moderation, especially for 24-hour monitoring, because come on now, us humans can't be there all the time. Then I have a life lesson series, and this one extracts the life lessons from the characters and their challenges and how they triumphed and what we can learn from that to better ourselves. Because one thing about it, our evolution in our skill sets is astronomical, no pun intended. But unfortunately, our evolution in our discipline and in wisdom, that can use some work. So by doing the life lesson series, I hope to cover on things like that. Got a few of them already, and I'm working on doing another one, and that one I'm actually gonna do live. So that'll be in the future. And also, I encourage that you check me out on Twitter. And again, shout out to the folks on Twitter. Good to have you back and joining with us. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's program. And I hope you join me for tomorrow's and Saturdays as well. And also, if you want to get links to any of my outlets, that is available with the master link of Linktree. So once again, thanks everyone for watching. And until next time, happy mixing, everyone.